When facing Spoil and feeling cornered, Andy finally agreed to Shen's proposal to draw the card from his forehead. After the card was released, he transformed into a figure with long black hair, and his personality changed as well. The man with black hair went into space to confront Spoil. His name was Victor, nicknamed the God of Victory for winning various battles. His extraordinary regenerative power easily defeated Spoil, who had entered Phase 2. Shen anticipated a battle against a formidable opponent. After Victor returned to the land, Shen attempted to challenge him. However, Shen was forced to acknowledge a significant difference in strength. Still, in order to fulfill his promise to Andy, Shen launched a final attack before falling. Members of the Round Table appeared through cracks in the sky. The battle between Victor, the strongest man, and the Union members began. Jules, who had drawn her sword, ran and attacked Victor. She tried to stab Victor's stomach, but he parried with his sword. They clashed using their swords. Jules attempted to slash Victor's stomach, and she succeeded. However, Victor's upper body regenerated, and then he flew. Jules instructed Top to take Fuko and Shen away from that place. Victor used the division bullet technique to attack Shen and Fuko. However, Top used his speed to save Shen and Fuko. Victor regenerated and then ran towards the staff Nua Kinko, still extending into the sky. He kicked the staff, causing it to fall towards Top, who was running, but Shen instructed the staff to shorten before hitting them. Top successfully ran away from the city. Top dropped Fuko and Shen to the ground, but he didn't stop moving and kept running. Fuko thanked Top for saving her in amazement. However, Top said not to think about it. They were now friends, so Fuko didn't need to thank Top. Fuko worried about Andy and asked Top. Top replied that he didn't know. They used to be able to control the situation thanks to Gina, but now Jenna was gone. Fuko asked Top to take her to Andy. She promised to bring Andy back. Top disagreed with Fuko's request. Fuko had almost been killed by Victor, but Fuko didn't give up. She asked Shen for the card embedded in Andy's forehead. Before handing over the card, Shen gave Fuko a pistol, instructing her to use it to protect herself. After getting the card, Fuko ran back towards the city. Top still disagreed and told Shen to stop Fuko. But Shen laughed and called Fuko an interesting kid. He had no right to stop Fuko because he had also acted selfishly. Top was annoyed with both of them. He then ran towards Fuko and carried her. Fuko thanked Top and introduced herself. She was now 18 years old. Top then introduced himself as well, and it turned out he was 3 years younger than Fuko. Fuko was angry because Top always called her a kid, but it turned out Top was younger than her. They argued while heading to the city, leaving Shen alone, fallen on the ground. One of Victor's bodies attacked Ishin, but he remained unharmed and caught Victor's body. Phil shot lasers from his hands, destroying the body of Victor held by Ishin. Phil's entire body was made of artifacts, yet he could still maintain consciousness. Victor was surprised and speculated that Phil had the ability to minimize risks. Victor's main body became vulnerable, and Ju was attacked. Jiz's sword was different this time, emitting fire. Jiz swung her sword and successfully severed Victor's shoulder. The sword was a creation of Uma Burn. Victor's shoulder was injured, but he quickly regenerated it. After running at full speed, Top and Fugo finally reached the city. They were confused because there were many bodies of Victor, and they didn't know where his original body was. Fuko observed all the bodies of Victor fighting Union members. She identified one body that was different, engaged in a battle with Juiz. She was sure that Andy was in that body. The body had a sword stuck in its back, and UMA clothes were still attached to it. She urged Top to take her to that body. Top agreed but didn't want to deal with the consequences. Top ran towards the body of Victor, which was fighting Juiz. Fuko took off her gloves and unbuttoned her shirt. She stood on Top's shoulder and prepared to jump. She jumped and then hugged Victor's body. Other Union members were surprised because Fuko, who had distanced herself, now approached and embraced Victor's body. Top asked if Fuko was sure she could handle it. With hesitation, Fuko replied that maybe she could. If she hugged Victor's body, even if she disliked him, a great disaster would surely come. And when Victor weakened, she would stab his forehead with the card she held. Juiz asked how long it would take to do that. Fuko answered that she didn't know. She had never stayed close to someone she hated. When she was with Andy, she could immediately bring great disaster even with brief contact. Juiz advised her to change the plan. Fuko had to call Andy's personality, even if only for a moment. After that, she might be able to bring disaster to Andy. Victor denied what Juiz said. He is the original. Even though Andy tries to resist from within, his turn will not come. Victor tries to attack Fuko with another of his bodies, but Top kicks that body with his speed. Victor uses the division bullet technique. Other Union members attack the bodies of Victor that emerge from his regeneration. Taishiana takes out her wrench and collaborates with Billy, who uses his pistol. Ishin holds one of Victor's bodies, and then Phil uses lasers to destroy that body. Nico uses his electric-contained black ball to attack one of Victor's bodies. Victor is angry because the Union members are protecting Fuko. If Fuko dies and UNA Burn is defeated, there will be 2 empty seats. Victor can find a stronger replacement for those seats. Jules denies what Victor said. Someone without ambition and justice like him cannot move others. Jules instructs the other members to protect Fuko and defeat the Victor clones. Shen has recovered from his injuries and then summons Staff Nui Kinko. He rushes to the city. Jules is overwhelmed facing the Victor clones. Fuko is worried and makes herself unfocused. One of the Victor clones flies towards her. Tatiana attacks the clone with her elongated hand. She is angry because Fuko is not focused. She urges Fuko to concentrate on persuading Andy. Fuko tries to tell Andy to come out. However, Andy does not emerge, making Victor angry. Victor uses his hand to attack Fuko. However, Top successfully kicks Fuko with his speed. Another Victor clone then attacks Top with its fingers. The attack injures Top's shoulder. Seeing Top injured makes Fuko think harder about how to bring Andy back. It hasn't been long since she met Andy. They have been through a lot and traveled to various places, but Fuko still doesn't know anything about Andy. She is unaware of what has happened to him. Fuko then remembered the first time she met Andy. Back then, Andy saved her and allowed her to live. Suddenly, she recalled the wound from the card on Andy's forehead. She took the pistol Shen had given her. Then, she shot the scar on Victor's forehead. The shot created a hole in Victor's forehead. Fuko inserted her finger into the hole while screaming. She urged Andy to come out, promising to bring the greatest disaster to him. After hearing Fuko's words, half of Victor's face changed. The hair on the side of the card's mark turned gray. Andy emerged and spoke to Fuko. He hugged Fuko and then kissed her. Fuko smiled after Andy did that. Andy let go of Fuko and then told her to continue another time. Fuko's face turned red and she ran away in embarrassment. The other Union members were dumbfounded after witnessing the incident. Fuko got angry with them and told them to leave immediately because disaster would come soon. Jules gave the order, instructing all Union members to run. All Union members hurriedly ran from the place. Victor, seeing this, tried to stop them. However, from a distance, Shen appeared and stood on the elongated Staff Nui Kinko. He used his power to restrain Victor. Shen had lied if his abilities were limited by distance. Shen bid farewell to Victor. Then Victor admitted his defeat. Dozens of meteors fell, hitting the city. Some meteors fell into the ditches on the city's outskirts. The water in the ditches overflowed, causing a flood. The flood rushed toward the Union members. Nico used his black ball to create a shield to block the flood. The meteors stopped falling, causing the entire city to be destroyed. Top realized that Fuko was missing. It turned out Fuko went to approach Andy. Tatiana was worried because the flood would return. Fuko reached Andy's location. Andy's body was scorched after being hit by the meteor rain. Fuko took the card given by Shen and stabbed it into Andy's forehead. She told Andy to return. Shortly after that, the flood came, engulfing Fuko. On the 31st of August, Fuko opened her eyes and lay on the bed. Andy accompanied Fuko, who had been sleeping while reading shoujo manga. He had finished reading 101 volumes of that manga. Fuko cried and felt happy at the same time because Andy had appeared by her side. Fuko was angry with Andy because he and Shen decided to summon Victor without informing her. If the Union members hadn't come, Andy might not have returned. Fuko felt sad because if Andy hadn't returned, she would be alone again. Andy touched Fuko's head and apologized to her. When Victor swallowed him, he could only hear Fuko's voice from the darkness. He was very happy and then called Fuko by her real name. Fuko was delighted because it was the first time Andy called her by her real name. She asked Andy to call her by her name once again. Fuko inquired about the doll on her bed. The doll turned out to be a gift from Tatiana when she visited Fuko. Ken and his friends, who had been saved by Fuko, also came to visit. They gave Fuko a paper with drawings of flowers. Andy heard that Ken and his friends would be taken care of by the Union orphanage until the age of 18, and after that, they would have to take care of themselves. Fuko remembered when their teacher turned into a zombie and felt sad. The incident might have left a sad memory for them. Andy didn't think so. Ken's teacher and his friends had very strong feelings. Andy was confident that those feelings would be conveyed to their students even if they decayed. Andy boasted about himself after saying something wise to Fuko. However, suddenly his body caught fire. The misfortune of holding Fuko's head came too late. They both came to the round table to attend the meeting. They were late, and the meeting should have started earlier. Andy came with his still burning body. Shen and Tatiana were happy because Fuko and Andy had returned. Jules instructed Fuko and Andy to sit. Due to the UMA close incident, Andy now sat in seat number 9, while Fuko sat in seat number 10. After all members were seated, Jules summoned Apocalypse. Apocalypse opened himself, and 6 sheets of paper floated above the table. Apocalypse then presented the results of the quests completed by the union members.